Okay, so here we are, we're looking at Elizabethan theatre today. So, let's just write that out. So Elizabethan theatre was a pivotal moment in British drama history. There we are, the little masks to get us going. Okay, so we're talking obviously about the Elizabethan era. It's sometimes known as the Renaissance or the Jacobean. So obviously we're looking at Elizabeth I here, who was born on the 7th of September 1533 and died on March 24th, 1603. And she's very grumpy. Okay, so the Elizabethan theatres started in the cobbled courtyards of inns, as they were called inn yards. So here's my little picture of an inn for you there. And as many as 500 people would attend play performances. So clearly, you know, that's quite a lot to fit into your cobbled inn yard. So it could get quite a bit crowded, which also meant it could get quite rowdy. Obviously, inns have a bit of alcohol stored away, so they could all get pretty grumpy. And to add to that, because there's so many of them, there was also quite a bit of smell coming out there, so there's some flies and whatnots going on. So clearly there was considerable profit to be made in theatrical productions of the day. That's not a pineapple, that's actually a sack of money. James Burbage, who was a very famous actor of the day, at one time would have played in the inn yards and no doubt negotiated a high price with the innkeeper to perform on his premises. So here is James Burbage looking very suave and happy to be holding the giant pineapple of money. Here he is, just gonna do a little bit of a whoop for us there. But obviously no one talks about inn yards today. The main shebango, as we like to say, of Elizabethan theatres is of course Shakespeare's very own The Globe Theatre. But before we come on to good old Mr. William Shakespeare, let's go back to our favourite actor of the day, James Burbage. Now, it was actually his idea to construct the first purpose-built theatre, and he aptly named it The Theatre. It was based on the style of the old Greek and Roman open-air amphitheatres, and it was to be the first of many Elizabethan ones. There's a little giant actor there on the stage. As I've said at the bottom there, it's not accurately drawn, so don't think that Greeks are all huge. However, profit dropped significantly in the winter because people would not venture to the cold open-air theatres. Enter the Globe Theatre. The original Globe Theatre was a wood-framed building with plastered outside walls joining at angles to form a circle or an oval. The pillars inside almost resembled trees, hence the tree. The interior resembled that of a modern opera house with 3 galleries protected from rain and sun by a roof. Between 2,000 and 3,000 playgoers paid 2 or more pennies to sit in these galleries, depositing their pennies in a box. As well as much cheaper ticket prices, a lot of what we see in today's modern theatres hadn't even been invented yet. For example, there were no curtains to signal the play stopping or a new scene beginning. Men also played every single character. There's a very hairy Juliet for you there. So that includes Juliet and Cleopatra and Lady Macbeth. They were often played by young boys who had not yet hit puberty. There were no fancy pyrotechnics to get people on and off stage. Creatures from the underworld would often appear through a wooden trapdoor in the stage. That's a little bit of a ghosty thing popping out for you there. Often scare the groundlings who are on level with it. People descending from the heavens, often creatures or winged messengers, would hang from a winch line, which is a special type of rope from the roof. Obviously, this is not the most safe invention in the world, so he's having a bit of right up there. There were no special sound effects, so all the sound effects had to be created by materials around at the time. So thunder, for example, was created using big sheets of metal that would be wobbled off stage. There was usually live music, especially in plays like Twelfth Night and Midsummer Night's Dream, which would be played by musicians either underneath the pit or nearby. Now, in terms of costume and props like that, blood was often used, and this was achieved by putting a pig's bladder underneath the actor's shirt. As well as very specific types of costume for clowns or creatures from the underworld, the actors wore what was most fashionable at the time, even if they were doing historical plays. Ladies often took inspiration from the actors at the time, which includes ribbons and feathers. I'm going to leave you now with the Globe's Latin motto, which is Totus Mundus Agit Histrionium. I think that's how you say it. It was a translation of one of Shakespeare's most famous lines, "All the world's a stage."